What is up, and welcome to Ask DLF, where the goal of the show is to answer all of your fantasy football questions. And what a day we had. I guess there's going to be a lot, hopefully, of those questions. This is the best chat room in the history of YouTube right here. Make sure if you are watching this anywhere other than YouTube, go find that YouTube link and tune in right there. I'm your host, Cal Shoemake, at Calvin Hobby on Twitter. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm joined, as always, by the incredible fantasy football creator named Tyler. How are you, sir?
Oh, I've been better, man. This has been just not my week. I've definitely took most of last night away from Twitter. And to be honest, I don't know when I'm coming back. I will be, nothing on this show is going to change. I'll still be here. For the people on Patreon, I'll still be there. If you like my articles, those will still be there. But, if you're asking me questions on Twitter, and you want an answer, subscribe to the Patreon or watch the show. Those aren't none of my shows. None of that's going anywhere. But the days, at least for any time soon, the days where I just answer every question on Twitter quickly, I don't foresee those coming back anytime soon, to be honest.
And we've talked a little bit about that. We'll talk a little bit more. But the biggest thing you missed, I think, is that I had a really bad Calvin Ridley take that people hated me about and got really mad at me for. So I maybe poke in every now and then and just see what people are mad at me for on random days. But we're gonna have fun. We're gonna get through it together here. You're gonna be excited to hear what everything Tyler has to say about all of the moves in the NFL. There's no doubt. And it's brought to you by the place that Tyler mentioned that he writes his articles for, DLF. So make sure that you are hooked in right there as a premium subscriber. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hit the like button because Addison gets his wings every time you hit it. Every time he gets happy. And you know what? A special one for today. Tyler gets happy when you do it too. So make sure. I'll make sure.
Don't promise the people a promise we can't keep.
I'm going to go into the back end of YouTube and link it so that it makes it happen. Okay, don't worry. I got it.
YouTube
go for smart. It. They know how to do all that stuff. A lot to talk about, but look, just any first impressions that you want to say before we get into the people's questions?
Let's go to the people.
All right, let's do it. Let's dive right in. So, Stephanie and Caleb, welcome to the show. So this is how we start, right? What do we do with Calvin Ridley? Let's go ahead, jump into it. Tyler, what are you advising those patrons that you mentioned to do in the leagues where they still have Calvin Ridley?
Well, let's just say, look, I was live yesterday when the Ridley news broke. So I was live on my own YouTube channel and I was a mess in reacting to it. I've had some time to think about it. And my general takeaway, Dynasty wise, has not changed. I would like to get rid of Calvin Ridley from my Dynasty team. I'm not waiting. It's not like he's 21. He's already 27. You're waiting for an asset that's going to be declining when he comes back. He'll be, be 28 before he takes the field again. You're already talking about a declining asset at that stage. So I'm not dealing with Calvin Ridley. If you can get any second round pick, I'll just take it and deal with something else. I'm good with that. If you can't get a second round pick, I guess you just hold him. There's no reason to not. But I don't think he ever plays in the NFL again, personally. They could reinstate him, but it was like, we'll reinstate him at our earliest convenience if we feel like it. And, I talked about this on my show. I'll link it. You can watch it. It's an hour and a half of it. As someone with background in the sports management, with master's degree, I can tell you that the NFL is not going to be so quick to allow Calvin Ridley to play again. So, I'll just take any second and move on.
I think there's a lot of sunk cost fallacy at play here with Calvin Ridley and a whole lot of FOMO because people are afraid to deal him. So what would you say to somebody who pushes back and say, why sell now when I can get so much more later?
How do you know that? What if he never plays again? Then you can't get more later, right? You can't get more later. Maybe you think you could, but there's no guarantee he's ever going to come back. Look, I was saying that you should sell Calvin Ridley the whole time. Obviously, I'm far from a psychic. I didn't predict. Nobody could have predicted this. But I don't feel a sunk cost fallacy, right? I mean, I didn't want him before, and this is the worst case scenario. Essentially, this is the worst possible thing that could have been going on behind the scenes of all the possibilities. So, yeah, I am fine getting rid of him. I don't, there are people who are going to disagree, and they can disagree, right? That's really something that they're allowed to do.
I have a feeling this will come up, so I'll just briefly say my advice on Twitter has been look for anybody in the Tony tier, which his ADP is wide receiver. Kadarius Toney is wide receiver 43. I'm fine with anybody around that range. If I can get that, great. If not, I'm looking for a 2024 second, then a 2023 third. I'm looking to get rid of him, so I'll just toss that out there. Like I said, I'm sure we will talk a little bit about it. I'm interested in holding him on my roster for a year and a half, hoping he gets value that puts him somewhere around Michael Thomas's value right now, which is basically a second round pick. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And let me also just quickly, it's nothing to do with Calvin Ridley, but it does in a way have to do with sports betting. Let me thank BetSperts for retweeting my tweet about tonight's show, that, the new parent company of DLF. If you missed that, they purchased DLF. So I just want to thank them, the people behind their Twitter account, for, as they've done since they made that purchase, they've supported this show. And, I just appreciate that they've made an extra effort to do that. So thank you for that. I just wanted to give them a shout out live on the show.
Awesome. Let's jump over. Jaweb 1223, is Kenneth Walker a faster Javonte? Measurables are similar. Same question for Drake London to Mike Williams.
Okay, let's start with, is Kenneth Walker faster Javonte? No, he's not. So I do like him. I mean, I wrote an article about Kenneth Walker pre-draft. I did write that, and I said that I thought that, he had a good chance of getting good draft capital. I had him in the 50th overall to the Dolphins, was kind of my idea. He's not going to be there at 50th overall anymore. So, I like him, but a faster Javonte, no. I mean, Javonte is a better prospect, a better player. So no to that one. And then the second part, I mean, I think Drake London is going to have a better career than Mike Williams has had. So on the balance of outcomes, Mike Williams' career has been not great. I mean, considering he was the 7th overall pick, he was 7th overall. I would say that you would consider Mike Williams' career to be a failure, right? For a 7th overall wide receiver, you would expect better.
A what?
So, not doing it today.
Boo.
Yeah, the people will have to wait for that. But no, I would say that, yeah, no, it's there. If you want Addison, we will give Addison a project. He will make an hour compilation of just my failure moments, and then the people can get that outtake reel. Well, not outtakes, but you know what I mean. But yeah, Mike Williams, Drake London has every potential to be better than Mike Williams, I would think, right? I mean, inconsistency from Williams, but congratulations to him. Williams, by the way, 40 million. He has 40 million guaranteed and 60 million on his contract. So, for him, his career has been a success, right? I mean, I'll take 40 million. Where's my 40 million?
4.38 for Kenneth Walker is
blazing.
Holy cow.
It's blazing. I don't think anyone expected him to run it below 4.4. Same with Breece Hall. No, I don't think anyone expected that either. I would have been happy if Breece Hall was like 4.47, but 4.3. Right. Breece Hall was 4.38 as well, wasn't he? Something around there. It's in the Combine article that, it's a DLF article. I suggest people read it. It's in the running. I did the running back winners and losers from the Combine. So, that's there for you on the DLF website if you want to read that.
Breece Hall was 4.39, so slow poke.
4.39. Oh, yeah, very slow. So slow, 4.39.
Nothing like the 4.38 that Kenneth Walker had.
Oh, no, it's just all the difference in the world.
Tyler Nelson, 12-team Superflex, Russell Wilson, Stephon Diggs, and DeAndre Hopkins for Justin Herbert.
Well, new Denver Bronco, Russell Wilson. This is a lot of older players for one young stud quarterback. I'll stick with Justin Herbert there. It's close though.
Yeah, I guess I can imagine some team context where I might be willing to bite on the other side, but Yeah, I always want the better prospect or better fantasy value right here is Herbert for sure. So here we go. It's me, Yeppers, man oh man. It's Super Taco Tuesday today with the best Cal and Tyler. Don't forget, it's also Waffle Wednesday for our Australian friends.
Very true.
Taco Tuesday, says Trogdor. Seems like all the big NFL news days fall on Tuesday. For some reason, the show is going to be fire.
They know that we're doing the show. That
right.
must be what it is, right? They know that we're doing the show, and all that they care about is making my show better. That's all it is, right? They dropped the Ridley news during my other show, and now we're here. We're here, and we have all of this news.
Roger Goodell is a huge fan of Tyler's. Huge fan.
You know, I've been to the NFL offices in New York.
He remembers. Yeah, he remembers.
I didn't get the chance to meet him, but you know, I did get a chance to go there. It's a very nice building. It's a very, very nice building.
Trogdor chimes in, Trey Lance and Chase Claypool for Josh Allen, a 12-team Superflex. What do you think?
You know, if I'm going to give up someone like Josh Allen, I just feel like this is a lot of maybe, right? I don't want maybe. I mean, Josh Allen is a stud level quarterback, 1 or 2 overall in a Superflex. I can't do that. So I'm going to stick with Josh Allen. I'm going to need a receiver better than Claypool. I mean, the kind of receiver I would need to do this. I mean, we'd need, I would want someone at the top, someone near the top of my rankings, maybe like CeeDee Lamb with Lance. So then maybe I'd consider it. But Claypool, no.
Here we go. Pull those rankings out, STP. Where does Albert O rank now among tight ends after the trade? Let's go ahead and break that down. Okay. So what's your reaction? We got Russell Wilson going to Denver. Let's start, I guess, start with him, and we'll work our way back over to Albert. But
let's start with what? I mean, Russell Wilson didn't move in my rankings. Okay. You know, I had him at 12 before, and he's still at 12 now. I don't know why I would change it, really. His situation is similar to what it was before. He has better running game now. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have DK Metcalf. So that's a downgrade. He still doesn't have a tight end. He didn't have a tight end before. He doesn't have a tight end now. I mean, I guess he has Alberto, who's better than nothing in Seattle. So that's something. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, nothing really changed for Russell Wilson. I didn't move his rank.
We mentioned 40 times. Alberto at 258 pounds ran a 4.49, by the way.
Yes, so I like Alberto.
Yes.
You know, I have Alberto now at tight end 13.
Ooh, okay. Very good. All right, here we go. Wyatt Johnson. If you have the 101 this year and you're set at QB, so drafting for need, it sounds like Trey Lance, Lamar Jackson, and Zach Wilson, what's the play?
I mean, trade the 101. Or just, I mean, there's possibility that I'm going to like Breece Hall as the pick. If Breece Hall goes in the first round, I'm going to consider Breece Hall at the 101, even as Superflex. Let's say, what if let's look at some possibilities, right? I mean, possibilities. What would we like? What if, you know, I don't know what the best case scenario is, but what if Arizona let their running backs walk in free agency and Breece Hall went 23 to Arizona? You don't think he would be what would he be? He'd be a top 5 dynasty running back, top 5 at that point.
Yeah.
To Arizona with the 23rd pick. I mean, he would be worth more than Malik Willis, even in a Superflex. So in that case, you could take Breece Hall and it would be the right decision. So let's, have a little bit of patience, I guess. I wouldn't worry about this just yet. You're in a good position. You have good quarterbacks. You have Lamar, which is a great place to start. And then you have Lance. And, you have the 101. You have flexibility. You have time. So no rush. And, there are situations where Breece Hall comes in and is just monster value right away. He's a good prospect. So gets a good situation and good draft capital. I'll be all in.
John Garrett, thanks for bringing up Alberto on your show during the season. Had him stashed at the end of my bench.
I just want to thank people during the season for asking so many Noah Fant questions to give me an excuse to talk about Alberto. The talent difference, minimal between the two players. Minimal difference. And I think we'll see this year. We'll see that there's minimal difference. I bet Alberto has the better career at this point.
Very interesting. Here we go. Alex Sorchi. After franchise tags and trades today, any players you're looking to sell? How about DK, Mike Williams, Sutton, Judy, Javante, another Judy's brother, and Godwin?
Okay, so Javante didn't know. I'm not looking to sell. DK, I'd be looking to buy. There are some people, some people think his value went up. I disagree with those people. I would have rather had Russell Wilson than whatever the alternative is going to be. The alternative is going to be bad. Whatever it is, it's not going to be good. So, DK for me is a buy. Mike Williams, I guess, is a sell. Mike Williams is not someone I'm particularly interested in long term. I never really loved him. He's had like 8 good games in his career. So he would be a sell. And then I think the Godwin is a buy to me. I love Godwin's talent. I'm a big believer that Godwin has every ability to be a top 10 NFL wide receiver, real life and for fantasy. He's done it before. I mean, we see him do it, despite Mike Evans being on that team at the height of his powers, not the Mike Evans, of after that. So of these, I think the most interesting are Sutton and Judy, because I think that Russell Wilson helps Sutton more. Helps Sutton more than Judy. Because I had no interest in Sutton at all. None at all. Because if they didn't get a quarterback, he was running out of time. Sutton was one more bad season away from disaster. Now they have a quarterback. So Sutton's value has actually been revived. Judy's value was already high. Although not according to February's ADP. I have an article coming out on that tomorrow. So if that was his real value, then maybe I would be buying. Judy,
why was 36? Just to give that's
low. Way too low. So I would buy in at that value, but I don't buy it that's his real ADP, and that's not his rank nor his trade analyzer value go along with that. So I would say Cortland Sutton is probably a sell because I'm just not that interested anyway. You might be able to get the perceived value if people see it the way I do, that he's going to be helped. I think he went up, but I had him lower to begin with. And then Judy, I'm fine selling Judy, but I don't think I have to. If I could get a monster offer for Judy, I would take it.
Yeah, I've been really interested to break that down a little bit, because Seattle ran the fewest plays in the league last year, like by far. And I do think that I could make a case that Russell Wilson did gain some value, but I want to dig into a little bit further. And I'm interested to see that relationship with Judy, because, he likes, like, Tyler Lockett came into the league with a lot less draft capital, all that stuff, but some very similar traits. And I want to dig into all that. I haven't had a chance to yet, but I love the idea.
Russ has a significant downgrade in passing weapons.
But if the pie gets bigger and the weapons are good enough, I mean, like, it's not like he had great weapons the years where we were most interested in him anyway, right? Like, he had Golden Tate and I can't even remember some of the old guys he had back then.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, he had Doug Baldwin. Doug Baldwin was very good.
Doug Baldwin, he was fine.
I mean, sure, Doug Baldwin's better than Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton have ever been.
But
just for the record,
Doug Baldwin do the same thing if he's got
no. I'm just saying that those two, Judy and Sutton, have not really. I mean, Sutton had that one highly inefficient season where he got all the volume and did not what I wanted with it. And other than that, has been awful. And then Judy this year was not good, not good over the back half of the year. He had plenty of time to recover from that ankle injury. Still wasn't good. So near the end. So, they just haven't proven. This is not a reason for me to raise Russ's value. I don't see it as changing much. I like that he's away from Pete Carroll. That is a good thing. But Bingo. I don't like that he doesn't have DK Metcalf and he doesn't have Tyler Lockett, 2 receivers that he had a lot of success with. So I'd say that those things kind of cancel out for me. And that's why I didn't change it.
FF Lefty Taco Tuesday back again. That's right, baby. Every single Tuesday right here. Same bat time, same bat channel. Ready to break everything down and answer questions. Fantasy Condo, tacos and waffles. That's right. Your favorite thing. We call it Taco Tuesday, Waffle Wednesday. Tyra loves it. He's the one that came up with it.
Honestly,
he doesn't, but he loves it.
Honestly, given what's been going on lately, I appreciate that more than I ever have.
FF Lefty, what do you think happens now with Melvin Gordon now that the Rush trade went through and happened? Anything that would hinder the Broncos bringing him back on a 1-year deal? What do you think?
Nothing would hinder it, but I don't I don't expect him to still.
I don't know that this is going to enter in the conversation. Like if he doesn't sign, I don't know that this is going to be the reason.
I don't think this that he signs. I think if Aaron Rodgers had come there, it would have been more likely that he would sign. But in this case, I think it could go either way.
Salsa 19 traded 5'11 in a Superflex startup plus a 2023 third for a 23 and a 24 first. How did he do?
Good. I'll take the firsts there. A first is worth more than it ever has been. Usually I say it's worth something in the 7th. This year, I would say it's worth more like something in the 6th in a Superflex startup, a mid 6th. So to 5'11, and then I get an additional first later on for a third. Yeah, I'll take the picks on the right side there. Good deal.
5'11, you're looking at somebody in the...
Well, that's what, 59th?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is pretty close to that.
Well, no, that's one QB.
Oh, yeah, that's what... Yeah.
Yeah, no. And also, we don't talk about failure on this show because that invites an air of failure when it's not necessary. But it invites an air. I know you're trying. It invites an air of failure, and we want success on this show. We want dynasty managers to be successful. We don't. Once you accept failure once, then you'll continue to accept it, and we don't want that.
John Garrett, what's the most you would pay for DK, or are you not buying with Drew Lock for the incoming QB class as his likely QB for next season? I will tell you, I traded Nick Chubb in a third for DK just today.
I would do that. Yeah. No, I would definitely be buying. There is zero chance that Drew Lock is his likely quarterback. Drew Lock sucks. Drew Lock is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Yeah. Although, how awesome would it be if Pete Carroll let Drew Lock throw the ball like 50 times a game? Like if he just went like complete mad scientist, wanted to make Russell Wilson, like the season's going to be a loss anyway, and wanted to make Russell Wilson mad, just let Drew Lock YOLO the ball all over the field 50 times a game. Let Drew Lock cook.
No. I think that the Seahawks, they don't have a first round pick. I think that the Seahawks have now jumped to the top of the list in the Jameis Winston, Mitch Trubisky sweepstakes, if that's what you want to call it. The honor of signing one of those guys. I think that's what they're looking at.
I think it's more likely, honestly, that Geno Smith starts than Drew Lock. And
I see that.
If so, DK Metcalf was the wide receiver 4 during his time with Drew Lock, or with Geno Smith as a quarterback.
Also, Tyler Lockett is on the trading block. The NFL trading block.
Love it. Zane Wee, just a couple of news items discussed tonight. Yeah, we're getting into it. We're digging in. Ed says should be a good show. NFL was on fire today. Yep. Right on cue. Alejandro Galvin is Waddle, Hawkinson, and a 23 second. And Clyde Edwards failure. Good enough to sell Justin Jefferson. Rebuilding, you can start up to 7 wide receivers.
Sure. Seems like a lot. I'll take it. I like Hawk. And then I can get rid of Clyde.
Waddle's not Justin Jefferson, obviously, but he's not Hawkinson plus a second away, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So I'll take that side.
NYFE MMA New York Fight Exchange. Hey, we don't talk about Fight Club here. Any chance Denver flipping these ones into a Watson deal?
Does it mean Seattle?
Seattle, I think. Yeah.
None.
Absolutely zero. Patrick Pichette, how's the weather on this very average news day? Nice.
Weather's good.
Really good weather, actually.
Yeah.
Bassmaster Cal Tyler, great work, guys. Enjoying the content. Well, oiled machines you are. Yeah. We get compared to machines often.
Yeah, maybe no.
Alex Dorsey took over an orphan 12-team PPR Superflex tight end premium. Have Antonio Gibson, Miles Sanders, and Hunt at running back. So you need running backs.
Could be better.
Garbage tight end. Any targets you recommend? Should I package 2 together? Also have the 101. That's good.
Well, I mean, if you don't have, this is what you have a running back. You don't have anything at tight end. It's a tight end premium. I don't think we're in a very good shape. So maybe not trade for a tight end. How about just trade your running backs away and tank? Maybe that's what you need to do. I mean, you have the 101. That's something. I don't know. I mean, you could try to package Gibson and Sanders together to get Mark Andrews. That's not going to happen. I don't know. I usually would just say trade your running backs for picks, especially Sanders.
Yeah, I agree. This probably is one that you need to rebuild on. And so the first thing you do is get rid of these running backs.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Fantasy Condo, does Brees Hall's combine vault him into top 5 dynasty running back? Talked about this, but would you give the 104 and 105 for the 101 to draft him?
No. And
so we're talking something like, well, if this is not super flex,
it is super
like
flex.
Spiller in London?
It says so. It says it's super flex.
Okay.
And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But to answer the first part of the question, right now I have, I have the 101 slotted in one QB slotted at running back 6. So, that would mean that it's possible he could be top 5, but I don't necessarily have him there as of now. I don't think there's anything he can do that would vault him above, no matter what, that'll put him above Taylor, Swift, Najee, or Javonte. But if he gets a landing spot that's perfect, Arizona at 23 would be very nice. I would consider him above Christian McCaffrey because of the 5 years of age that you're getting with Brees Hall.
Bassmaster 81, can we possibly have Christian Watson valued right up there with Mr. Pickens? So just over context and Superflex rookie, the ADP right now for Christian Watson.
February. That ADP is irrelevant. At ADP, it's totally irrelevant, that ADP, because it's pre-combine.
Then I won't tell anybody. Go ahead.
Yeah, tell them the rankings. Tell them the rankings. Tell them the rankings that the DLF rankers updated after the combine, because that's actually helpful. I took a look at that to make sure I did my rankings, and I took a look at that to see how I compared to the DLF rankers, who all update their rankings very frequently.
So Watson comes in at wide receiver 10 among all the rankers. And then Pickens is up at wide receiver 6.
Yeah, I have Pickens at 6 and Watson at 10. So
no,
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Ryan, non-dynasty question. What tips would you give someone who's looking to further their fantasy content before the season?
Remember that, people who support you are important. And there's always going to be people who don't like you. And that's what you have a block button for. That's my number 1 tip.
Do stuff that's fun. Trogdor Cal, are we back on the Fant train? Who do you think ends up as QB? Okay, so it's not going to take me much to purchase my ticket back on the Fant train, to be honest. But I'm not there right now. I'm not on. So Alberto's a great athletic tight end. So is Fant. He's really, really good. This is gonna be the best quarterback he's played with for a little while now. I might be able to talk into it, but I don't know. I just can't.
Why?
His price is too high in Dynasty right now.
Well, who knows what quarterback Fant is going to play with? He's in Seattle. I don't know who Seattle's quarterback's going to be. It could be Mitch Trubisky. You want him then?
What if it's Drew Lock throwing the ball up 50 times a game?
Oh.
All right, Salsa 19. How far ahead are Mahomes and Allen from the rest of the QBs in Superflex?
They're a clear top tier, but they're not miles ahead.
The top 2 for me. Murray was in that tier. Not for you anymore?
No, not for me anymore. I have Herbert at 3, Murray at 4.
Ed loved the Cal Ridley take. I'm just out. I got a lot of hate.
Yeah, you're more out than I am.
I'm way out.
You're even more out than I am.
I also think it's something that we don't consider. We don't think about the fact that, like, you're like, oh, if I take a third in 2023 class, all right, but that is, you're going to get that value no matter what. There's so, like, we're assuming all the best things possible. We've done this before. It's very different situations, but just think about assets that weren't going to play for a year that we just were like, oh, I'm going to do this. And they just sit on your roster. And weeks 1, 2, 3, where you're trying to make moves, you're just like so frustrated because you don't know who to drop, and they just sit there. And like at the end of it, you're going to maybe get 1 round difference in, like, instead of getting a third, I'm going to get a second, maybe.
Just given the discourse though on Twitter and how much pushback you got from that thread and how much pushback I got from things I've said, you can get a second for Calvin Ridley from someone in almost every league, and I would just take it.
Exactly.
That's why I push back on the third, because I'm pretty sure you can actually get a second almost everywhere. You only need to get it from 1 out of 11 opponents. Yep. And I'm pretty sure that in 95+% of leagues you can.
Salsa vouches for Tyler's Patreon. If you love Dynasty, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I like, if I'm tired, that's the thing I check first, is my DMs and my Discord. The thing I do second is articles. The third thing are these shows. And the thing I do last is check my Twitter notifications. And if I have to make people wait a week for those, that's fine. I get to those when I can. But Patreon, I get to immediately, generally.
We always assume we know the floor for these players. We don't. B Salzburg, 12 teams who reflects half PPR, 4-point passing TD, Sin, Tannehill, and Elijah Moore, and get Najee Harris. What do you think?
Trading away a quarterback and a young wide receiver for a running back. I mean, I get it. I mean, where these guys are in startups, the Najee side makes sense. I don't want to, but if you have the quarterback depth to do it, and you really don't. I mean, Stafford and Carr, I guess it's okay. Trubisky, but yeah, the value's on the Najee side, but that doesn't mean I want to do it.
There are some good Calvin Ridley trades on the Trade Finder. When I get to the next Calvin Ridley trade, I'm going to go over those. So make sure you hang out for a little bit to see that, because there's some really good ones. K-Mac, anything happened today? Just woke up from a long nap. All right.
No, honestly, nothing happened today.
Tyler's take on Ridley news, breaking on the spot, was on spot when he was live.
I appreciate that.
Things happen live when you were like, when you're live, it seems like a lot of news does happen.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't agree that I think if you go, so I watched my entire show from yesterday. I think if you watch the last 20 minutes, that take is very spot on. The original take at the beginning, I've had better moments, especially on live broadcasts. And that's part of, but not the only reason why I'm kind of exhausted, was that show yesterday.
Tyler Arsenault, what do we do with DK now?
Buying. I'm buying. I'm buying for sure. I mean, I now have him at wide receiver 8. So that means I'm still buying.
I would have him 5. I'm not worried at all.
5? 5, yeah. I think it's high. I mean, I don't know. There's other players I like. I don't have to have him at 5.
He's still so young.
Yeah, I mean, I have Lamb at 3, Brown at 4, Debo at 5. I'm happy with those guys.
Yeah, his ADP's wide receiver 6. He's 24 years old. Awesome. Okay. How about Alberto? Is he worth going after in startups? We talked about him a little bit.
Yeah, probably not anymore. You won't get him at the price I'm willing to pay. So, unfortunately, no.
Yeah, if you're on the clock in a slow draft, like
this is the time of the year. Well, you take the maximum amount of the clock.
And yes, this pick is on the block.
Yeah.
When tight ends get 1.5 PPR, I like it, but rule number 1 is don't go against the shield. Yeah, I guess in reference to Calvin Ridley. Also, I think leagues obviously have to be very, like, no tolerance on gambling on this stuff. They have to be.
Yeah, watch my show from yesterday. I talked about this for a long time.
Tanya, appreciate. Hey, good seeing you, Tanya. Very sad, Metcalf. Don't be sad if you're a Metcalf owner. Don't do it. What is his trade value in terms of 22 or 23 picks? Don't trade him away.
Don't trade him away. I mean, he's still worth more to me than any rookie in this class in one QB. So
don't
trade him away.
Yeah, because who's the quarterback of these rookies? Who's it going to be?
Yeah, we don't know.
You have no idea. Don't do it. Blake, our Australian friend. Hi, guys. Great show as always. Trade question 14 team, 1 QB, PPR, Barkley, or 110 and a late 23 first.
Blake, you're a frequent viewer of this show, right? I mean, you know the answer to this question. It's not the Barkley side.
Take the first.
Yeah.
Mitchell Grady, 12 team, Superflex, 108, 208 for Judy and 308.
Getting carried away. I'll take the picks.
John, I think I'm going to just try and use Ridley as an extra piece to get a close trade done for a player I want.
That's fine. That's fine. If you want to do the trade that way, that's fine. If you can't get a second straight up, I don't have a problem with
that. So here's one thing that I'll mention on this on trades. Don't just put them on the block and like, oh, the best offer I got was a 5th round pick or whatever. That's obviously not going to work. You have to be an aggressive trader. You got to be the one making the initiations. Don't just sit back and wait for offers to come. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. You're not going to get good offers that way. Here are some real trades for Calvin Ridley. Went down yesterday. Okay. Calvin Ridley and 421. This is from the DLF Trade Finder. DLF's a great website. You should be a previous.
I really think you should subscribe to it for sure.
Ridley and 421 for Tim Patrick, 216 and 318.
What? 421, 216? What kind of picks are these? I don't know. Then these picks are not worth anything. So I want to do better than that.
I'll take the picks. Calvin Ridley and a 24 second for a 23 second and a 24 first in a 12 team league.
Oh, the first side.
Easy.
Any first. Yeah.
Easy sell. Calvin Ridley or the 210.
210.
So Calvin Ridley, the 27, obviously. You take that.
The 207, yeah.
And yeah, that's it. There's a big trade where Calvin Ridley's not actually the centerpiece, but similar to what he's saying, I'm going to try and use Ridley as an extra piece to get a close deal done on a player I want. Yeah, that's a good idea. So yes, that tells you people who are like, oh, if the best you can get a 4th, don't sell them. No, that's not the best you can get. Be active, go out, make trade offers, get a deal done.
I'm with it.
John, great idea. Kenneth Walker forced 89 missed tackles last season, more than JT in 2019 or Barkley in 2016. That's just something to chew on.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely pay attention to that. I mean, at this point, Kenneth Walker is my RB2 in this class ahead of Isaiah Spiller, who did not run at the combine. I heard about a lot of excuses for why he didn't run, but excuses don't make you run faster. So I don't like excuses. So excuses have put him down at RB3 with Walker ahead of him at RB2.
We've officially reached the point where we are comparing these prospects to superstars. So this is why you don't necessarily start by going after picks in this draft with Ridley.
Well, that's what I said is, Andy Holloway put out the tweet on, Twitter. We all saw it. A lot of people saw it. That, we spent a lot of time having pre-draft discourse about these players, most of which, if you don't draft before the NFL draft, is exhausting. Yes, this is the biggest reason I'm exhausted and the biggest reason I'm staying away from Twitter. So I agree with him. It's exhausting, not productive. It's not helpful. Unless you actually draft before the NFL draft, it doesn't actually help you at all. It's a lot of discussion, a lot of hypotheticals, a lot of maybe that the second you have the NFL draft, you just take that whole thing and dump it in the trash can. So, I get it. Some people enjoy that. If you enjoy making that kind of content, good for you. If you're like me and that's not really your thing, that's kind of why I'm mostly staying away from Twitter at this time. That's the biggest thing that I'm not I'm not loving at the moment. And there's nothing wrong with this comment. I mean, this is a fact. Go back to it. This is a fact about Kenneth Walker that makes him, it appeals to me as a prospect. Obviously, it doesn't mean he's going to be Jonathan Taylor or Barkley, but it's exciting. But I don't obsess about my pre-draft rookie ranks for Kenneth Walker or any other player. I just don't. Other people can do that, but just not going to be something I do.
Jesse Real, hey guys, hope you're doing well. Do you have any thoughts on Kylan Granson? I've been offering Granson and the 301 for the 209 and the 12-team Superflex, trying to decide if there's enough upside here.
I'll take the 209. Granson's worth nothing. I liked him last year as a sleeper. He was someone I was drafting in the late 4th or early 5th round in some drafts, but he didn't work out, and he was fine, but I'm not really holding out hope. He doesn't carry any value. I'll take the 209 there.
Ed says, yes, go after Alberto.
No, I agree with Ed in that I like Alberto, but Twitter doesn't know how to have a measured reaction to anything. So he's now going to be a top 10 Dynasty tight end, and he's going to go 5 rounds earlier than he should. So I'm not going to get Alberto anymore.
Keep trade cut's going to have him ahead.
Let the record show that I have been saying to acquire Alberto for over a year. So the record does show that. You can go back and watch the old shows.
Absolutely. Darren says he would definitely watch an hour show of you saying failure.
Oh, I'm sure people, that would be how they, improve their happiness. It's just by watching me say failure. So I agree. We got to get Addison to make that cut.
Rad 5577. How about the Cowboys cutting Cooper? Does that help or hurt Lamb's value? Does it maybe push him into that top tier with Chase and Jefferson now?
No, it doesn't push him into the top tier with Chase and Jefferson, but it does help his value.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see if they haven't cut him yet, right?
They're trying to trade him. They're trying to get something, but they're not going to. They're just going to have to release him.
Ed is hearing the new turf in Indy is a little faster this year, so take these 40s with a grain of salt.
Okay.
Kevin Backen, 12-team Superflex 2022 112 for Sutton. What do you think?
Pick easily. This is not even close.
Thoughts on snagging Kenneth Walker at the 102 in Superflex?
It's a reach.
I think that's a reach, yeah. Lamb's target share has not risen by any significant amount with Cooper out of the lineup, says Joe.
And your sample size on that is 4 games? I mean, I don't... it's 4 games. So that's a tiny sample size. And I'm not sure Dak played all those games. So I'm not looking at splits data when it's such a tiny sample. I'm not sure it's actually any games.
There's still enough negativity on CeeDee Lamb. You would think so. He had 120 targets and 79 catches, 1,100 yards. I mean, it's not like he was bad. I mean, I feel like people talk about him like he's Anyway,
it's just but then all the negativity was wiped away when we heard that Amari Cooper was going to be cut. I was hearing about how CeeDee Lamb is the next superstar. I mean, I think he is, but that negativity is gone.
How do we feel about Jerry Jeudy? We talked a little bit about this already, but just some thoughts.
I always liked Jerry Jeudy, the talent. I'm not sure that he's going to have any more luck emerging against Sutton and Patrick than he did before. He was the one of those when they were all together, when they all played. He was the best of a bad group. I'm not sure that it's going to be amazing, though. But he's so young that I'm more willing to hold him. Sutton is the one, even though I think his value was the one that was revived from the toilet. Sutton is the one I'm still more likely to sell. Judy's more of a hold to me.
The Andy B. Oh, I'm sorry, Andy. Traded away Jeudy and Alberto in the last month or so. Traded Jeudy for Ridley.
Well, I would never have recommended trading Jeudy for Ridley at any time since Ridley left the field. So that one was preventable. Alberto depends on what you got. This was literally the best case scenario where they traded for Russell Wilson and Fant went the other way. You could not have asked for better. So I don't think anyone expected or planned for this. But, that one I get.
The other Benny Blanco says, Andy, that's a bad hit for show. Weaves, what do you guys think about this trade now? Sent it to a Russ superfan before the news. 10-man superflex, Russ, Claypool, 109 for Watson, ETN, and a 2023 first.
Seems pretty even to me. I mean, I'd slightly rather have Russ over Watson with Watson's uncertainty. I'd rather have Etienne over Claypool, and I'd rather have a 23 first over the 109. So
I'll take that side too.
Yeah.
Hey, Teller and Calvin, do you think Melgo stays in Denver?
I'm leaning no.
I also lean no, but I don't think this trade has anything to do with it, I guess.
I don't either. I think he's going to stay if they offer him the most money, and I do not think that they will.
Is this true? I didn't see this.
It is true.
Wagner's getting released?
They're cleaning house there. Pete Carroll is cleaning house.
Could Bobby Wagner not get you anything on the open market? What is happening?
Apparently not.
He's one of the best linebackers. This is wow.
I never said Pete Carroll, the GM, was competent.
Holy cow. That's what?
Yeah.
All right, Juliet. Hey guys, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you like to
go? Somewhere without Twitter. Wherever there's a lot of beaches, a lot of ocean, a lot of nice weather, and no internet access.
Just probably somewhere on the beach somewhere. Glenn D, Startup Superflex. All of these. Who do I trade to get better at running back, not sacrificing QB? So these players.
Yeah. Yeah. So on this show, it's better specific questions like trade X for Y. It's hard to tell you without looking at your league with a lot of players what you should do. But yeah, no, generally trade questions are definitely much better. X for Y, pick this player over this one, that kind of stuff.
I agree you're lacking at running back, but you don't have to set a lineup for a little while. I wouldn't be too worried until I start to see how some of the pieces come in place, and I'd be looking for value.
Yeah, float an idea for me, and I'll tell you yes or no.
Adam, what's up, Adam? Calvin Carp, the freaking homies. All right, adding a freaking in there this week. I
still appreciate your Twitter messages, Adam.
Glenn says, wow, use my phone. This is tough. Great channel show and even better insight. Appreciate that, Glenn.
Thank you.
Superflex 2022 101 and an early 2023 second or CD Lamb.
That trade's pretty fair at this point.
That's pretty close.
I'll take the 101 in the second for now. Just because the upside's on that side. I'll take the 101 in second. It was easily that side before Amari was being released. Now it's a thought. It's something to think about, but I'll still take the 101 side.
What do you guys think of QBX startup strategy in a 12-team Superflex?
He's asking because he did a draft like this recently. So I don't hate it, but it's not my preferred strategy.
Describe QBX for anybody who doesn't know what that is.
QBX is essentially taking a lot of quarterbacks, like many quarterbacks, like 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever. I don't like it. I generally find that it's not the best strategy. And you hamstring yourself and then can't trade and then get frustrated when people don't give you the quarterback value that you think you should get. I usually stop at 5 or 6 and leave it at that. But it depends. I know the draft he's talking about.
Is this James? Is that who this is?
No.
Okay. Somebody did this
No.
recently?
I personally approved these picks, so it's okay. It was okay in this case. I was okay with it in this case.
Somebody did this recently and sent me something on it. Anyway, here we go. Mike Diggs. So many of these questions are Superflex. What happened to standard? Mike is wishing for the good old days here. Starting QB is neat and cute, but QBs are overvalued while other positions get devalued. How did Superflex get more popular than standard?
It's not. It's only more popular for Dynasty.
Right.
In Dynasty, trading is the game. When you take out an asset from being tradable, like it is in one QB, quarterbacks are irrelevant. That's less fun. In Superflex, everything becomes tradable. In redraft, I still prefer redraft one QB over Superflex. I like streaming quarterbacks from the waiver wire in redraft. I find that fun. In Dynasty, nobody's on waivers, so you can't do that. So I don't find that fun. Then you just have a bunch of everyone has their 2 or 3 quarterbacks. Nobody trades anything, and it's boring. So I just find that the way Dynasty is lends itself to Superflex being more enjoyable. But like I just said, for redraft, I prefer 1 QB. So I just think that's all it is. This is a Dynasty show.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Safe Leagues does not make new Dynasty 1 QB leagues because they can't fill them. Nobody wants to join them. So, that's where the demand is. So that's why we talk about it so much. That's all.
Mike, go check out this came up in my interview with Addison on the very first episode of the Dynasty Refinery. Go check that out because Addison had a really good answer for this. And there's some really good things that you can follow up on that. Ridley Truther, this is sad. Yo, fellas, it's Deontay.
Sorry, bro.
Handle taken.
I think I have it. So you'll have to compete.
So sorry, man. That's rough.
It must be. This is why I wasn't silly enough to have my brand after a player.
Skip, can you believe Master Teague didn't get an NFL Combine invite?
Man,
they're gonna be sorry. Super sleeper. Was he the one? He was the one that
he was the one you were saying was a sleeper.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he didn't get an invite. Man, I'm being mean these days. I have no mercy for the Ridley Truther or for Master Teague.
Master Teague Truther. I'm gonna go see if that's available.
You do that.
Trogdor, if you were looking to deal the 101 to move down in the draft and pick up a 2023 first, how far would you be willing to go?
I feel like we had this question. I feel like I had this question at some point. I forget if it was on a Patreon show or on my channel or whatever, but I think it was yesterday on my YouTube channel. I think I said the 104, I would definitely take it. Mm-hmm. The 105 was equal, and the 106 or later, I wouldn't.
Very good. Fantasy Condo, what are your opinions on the ASU wideout, Rashad White?
You mean running back?
Running back, sorry. Really liking his prospects.
I like him.
4.48. Pretty good speed.
I like him. Yeah,
good
I like him.
Score. He's got some more than interesting analytics. I'm curious to see how some of the analytics guys like him.
Let's see where he goes in the draft.
Yeah, that's going to be draft capital for him. I think is going to tell a story. I'm looking at his rankings. He's RB4 on balance in DLF.
Yeah, that's where I'd have him.
Bonnie wants to know hard or soft shell tacos. Okay, in a world where you would eat a taco,
it was always hard. It was always hard shell for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Why not both? Devontae tagged Dot Adams, but MVS, St. Brown, and Lazard. That's not Amonra. That's his brother. They are all free agents. Basically, Green Bay has Adams and no one, which kind of always been the case, right? You think they'll re-sign some of these guys or land a bigger free agent or draft someone?
I think they'll re-sign MVS and maybe try to draft someone else as well.
FF Lefty, ask yourself, what does Green Bay do with their skill position players? Yeah. They don't bring in big free agents. They typically don't spend early draft capital.
They don't have the cap space to do it anyway.
Probably bringing some of these guys in. Alejandro just got Tony and a third for Ridley. I like it.
Love it.
Really, Truther, good to see you, brother. I was considering sending a wellness check. See, this is why it's the best chat room in the whole history of YouTube right here.
I know. The chat just reminds me of how great it is all the time.
Brandon Ayuk or DJ Moore?
DJ Moore easily.
Come on. This isn't. These are different tier receivers here.
Very different tier.
Ed drafted Albert O with the pick 220. Oh, in our draft. Oops.
Wow. That's a value. That's a value.
Good job, Ed. Rookie draft starts Wednesday after the NFL draft ends. That being said, I think projected landing spots are a waste of time for everyone involved.
I mean, I again think that most of the discourse about rookies pre-draft is to put your flag out there, plant it, and then you can circle back to it after the rookie draft and be like, "Ooh, look, I said this, this, and this, and I was right." I was like, I just don't care. I don't care. So since that's what the discourse is on Twitter on rookies mostly pre-draft, I'm just good not participating in that. Not invested in it.
There are a lot of nights where I just like sort of go through and I kind of browse around and see what kind of YouTube shows there are for fantasy football, what's live and all. Joe is in every single one of the comment section on every single one of them. So Joe, what would you do if nobody was talking about this? This is what we have to talk about.
Well, I talk about plenty of other things. Like I still created Twitter content up until very recently. I just, a lot of my Twitter threads were put a Dynasty trade in the comments, ask me about a Dynasty player. Like there's still content I can do. It doesn't have to be about the NFL didn't lose all the players currently in the league just because we have a rookie class. There's other stuff to talk about.
I'm just Joe would not like it. He would be the least happy about everybody stopping to talk about this.
Well,
the Smith situation, good name. Judy and Sutton hype is real. Got offered Kittle for Cortland Sutton and Jonnu Smith.
Well, Jonnu is the whole other story, but I'll take Kittle easily.
Wednesday after is best time to draft. Yeah, right after the NFL draft. I do love that. That is a good time. I like to draft.
Yeah.
We talked about Jerry Jeudy. Can he finally live up to the hype?
What's the hype? I mean, I currently have Jerry Jeudy ranked as wide receiver 20.
What are the realistic odds that Michael Carter can be an RB1?
Next to nothing. They're going to bring in a heavy compliment to him, and he's not going to be an RB1. So almost zero.
Yeah, slim to none. Fantasy Condo, I think I will actually be upset with the NFL if Deshaun is guilty of anything, and the length of his suspension is less than the length of Ridley's.
This is, if you want to talk about something that's going to make me upset, it's this. And I agree with you. Again, as I've said many times, if it were up to me, Deshaun Watson would never play in the NFL again. It isn't. But if it were, he would never play in the NFL again. It's not up to me. But I agree with Calvin Ridley's suspension. That suspension is the right length to me. I agree with it. I don't have an issue with the year suspension for Calvin Ridley. My issue is more likely to be with Deshaun Watson's lack of punishment when that happens. That's where I'm going to have an issue, more so than an issue with Ridley's length of suspension. I think a year for gambling on the sport that you're a professional of is very reasonable suspension.
Clue 10, 1, 2, 3, Seahawks fan here. I think losing my soul today will make me a better Dynasty player. Has there ever been a soul-breaking moment that shaped you as a Dynasty player?
Yes, if you were around at this time, the day Andrew Luck retired. That day was like a nuclear bomb being dropped. It's like if it's the equivalent of, Superflex wise, that's the equivalent of, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert retiring today. Mm-hmm. There are people spent their first round pick on Andrew Luck in a startup. A week later, boom, gone. Mm-hmm. They're screwed. Their team they're screwed. They're now in for 2 years of just disaster. That is the moment. There's no competition in my time in the Dynasty era. There's never been a moment like that one. Never. Where it's just so final. It's so over. You had a first round pick, went to zero value in snap of a finger. There's never been another moment like that.
I became a Dynasty player before the Saints got good, and my soul was already broken with the NFL. So I came into Dynasty broken already. So
yeah, no, but that's the moment. If I even remember what I was doing that day, like I remember what my day was like. It was that big of a deal, and I was not a popular creator back then either.
Fantasy kind of Javonte Williams or the 102 and a 2023 first.
I will. In a 1 QB, I would probably have to pass because I just don't think there's going to be another prospect other than Hall that I want enough. But in a super flex, I'll take the package here.
We are now an hour into the show. So if you are watching this, just to reset, we are brought to you by DLF. Make sure it's a great website. Go check it out. Make sure you become a premium subscriber. I promise it's worth it. A lot of the things that we do today is going to be from there. Also from Tyler's Patreon. You should check that out as well. And we are here to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and use the chat function. And whether we get to it or not, there are a lot of people in the chat who will be able to answer your question who are really smart too.
I just appreciate everyone who tunes in to this show, because it's the interaction and the chat and everything like that. That's the kind of stuff that keeps me going, no matter how mad about Twitter I might be. This show is one of the things that keeps me going.
Clue says, I would also add that emulating Pete Carroll and John Schneider is not the way.
Yeah, no. Those two are so lucky they drafted Russell Wilson, because other than that, almost every move they've made has been bad.
QBX, Adam, not a fan.
I'm not a fan either, but you're better off with QBX than not drafting quarterbacks at all. Not drafting quarterbacks at all is very bad. NP
Merrill, thank you for the question. 16 team, Superflex.
DLF colleague, NP Merrill.
Yeah, tight end. Two points per reception for tight ends.
Okay.
Dallas Goedert, 2023 third, or Singletary, 2022 110 and a 23 second.
That's a hefty price, but I'll take Goddard in a 2-point tight end premium. I'll take Goddard.
Yeah. Man, Singletary is a guy. I've got him on a couple rosters, and I honestly am torn.
So up in the air, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's still up in the air. We haven't learned anything about where that's going to go, but yeah.
Bobby Lore, would you take the 103 or a mid first in 2023?
The 103 will be good. I'll take the 103.
Right now, I definitely want that 103, but I might be still looking to trade it if I can get it for the right price now.
We don't know what that's. I'm looking to trade the 103, but not just for a straight first.
Colin, not Fantasy related, but who are you guys' favorite team?
You just mentioned it, and I'm a Giants fan.
I am a Saints fan. Rice Cake, Randy, DK, or the 107 in a 12-team super flex.
If this is what DK is going for, then DK is a buy. So definitely DK. Easily.
DK truther. That's the one I want to be.
Yes. I might be the DK truther soon.
I am seriously like, I can't even believe the people do not sell DK. Stop it. Don't sell DK.
Well, if you can get Waddle, I'm fine selling DK, but I love Waddle. I may need to be the Waddle truther.
Right. Cat Zero did a Superflex redraft this year, and it felt harder to trade than one QB.
Well, I think all redrafts can be hard to trade, but I just prefer, I actually really enjoy the way streaming works in a 1 QB redraft. But in Dynasty, it doesn't work that way. So it takes out the only thing I liked about 1 QB. So in Dynasty, I prefer Superflex. But in redraft, like I said, I really do enjoy 1 QB redraft. That's my preferred format for redraft. It's still 1 QB PPR.
Rad 5577 Dalvin Cook and Alberto or CeeDee Lamb in a 1 QB league.
I just don't want Dalvin Cook, so I'll take CeeDee Lamb. Alberto's not enough.
Yeah, I want Lamb's on this, and you appear to be a Cowboys fan, so it probably won't take too much to talk you into that.
Yeah.
Who do you think will be the best player available at 104 in a super flex league? Let's say
a super flex.
Yeah.
Right now, my 104 in super flex is Treylon Burks.
Very good. Yeah. Ed doing some work out here for us. Appreciate that. And she says in a 1 QB league.
Okay. In a 1 QB league, then it'll be, I have Drake London at 4. But Kenneth Walker is closing in.
Yep. Okay. Rachaad White lacks power between the tackles and runs 2 upright. So he's a role player to me and an injury risk.
Yeah. I mean, to me at this point, this class has Hall and Walker, who I expect to come in as starters or committee leaders. Spiller, who I think is going to come in as a solid committee player. White is up in the air as a role player. So I agree, a role player, but still could be a back end of a committee, and then everyone else is backup.
Agree. B. Salzburg. Thanks, gents. 12 team, Superflex, half PPR, Sin Higgins, T. Higgins, I hope, plus question mark, receive Justin Fields. Need to improve the QB. Current QB situation is that all that? That's just roster. What do you think?
Okay. I am not adding significantly to T. Higgins to get Justin Fields, so I think we're just going to walk away from this deal entirely.
Me neither.
Like, yeah.
Buy Apple Pie says MT and 203 or Jerry Jeudy in a 14.
And if Michael Thomas ends up somehow being good, then and Jerry Jeudy, I'm not sure ever will be. But the 203 is worth a good amount. I guess this is the equivalent to the 205. I'll take that side, but mostly just because I don't want to give additional picks to. I'm not looking to go get Jeudy this way.
If I had to, I'd take Jeudy here.
Yeah, that's probably true.
P2 Thar, what should I get in return for Kenny Galladay and Julio from a guy who has Kamara, Ridley, Woods, and Derrick Henry? He's a contender and needs some help, and I'm rebuilding. Can I get something good?
No. You
cannot.
You cannot.
You can't get somebody good for Galladay and Julio anyway.
Well, Addison says that Galladay is going to make a big leap forward in 2022.
Okay.
It's not Addison's worst take ever, but his worst take ever is that, Tua over Lawrence, but
yeah.
The Galladay rebound is up there.
Will he get hurt making that leap? That's the question.
Yeah, I think Galladay may improve on 0 touchdowns from last year.
Sundance Kid Cassidy, I got the 101, 102, and 105 in a Superflex draft. I think I'm going to go Hall, Willis, and then best receiver available. What do you think?
I mean, sure, but let's not make our decisions yet.
Mike Valverde, what's up, Mike? Appreciate you tuning in, dude. And your question, I can't believe someone would draft Andrew Luck in a startup and then have him retire. That would never happen to anyone. Mike also happens to be a Colts fan, so that was probably a very, very, very bad day.
I literally know of a startup draft. I remember it where they were on the clock, picked Andrew Luck in the first round of a Superflex startup, and he retired 15 minutes later.
Oh my God.
I saw it on Twitter that day.
The Aaron Hernandez thing was another one too, because he was just ascending. And then all of a sudden, I traded him away for Hakeem Nicks. This is going back a ways.
Oh my God.
But
this is different. This is
a week before that news dropped.
But this is a first round asset, a 29-year-old quarterback 2, top 3 quarterback in Superflex, just going and disappearing. That's never happened before.
This is a good question. If you're watching this and you have a moment that your soul left you in a Dynasty league, go ahead and put that in here.
If you were in the Dynasty community that day, there's never been a day like that day.
Ed Fran says, I would think any of the top 3 backs would be an option at the 104. Still think Spiller is a top half of the first pick, kind of a player.
I currently have Spiller at 6.
Yeah. I'm looking in here, and that's he's still pretty high. Now, Ryan still has him at 3. Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, that's I just don't think that he's going to get the draft capital to warrant being at 3 after his poor combine.
That's the question, yeah. Should I give Sutton for a 23 first?
Yeah, hit accept and then come back to listening to us.
Yeah, go do it now. Taco Tuesday over Twitter says Cat Zero.
I agree.
Me too. Yeah, the moment Andrew Luck news broke, says P2 Thar, was in the middle of an auction draft where someone kept Luck. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I remember though, for a while, Andrew Luck was still getting traded and rostered and all this stuff because everybody was so sure he was coming back because he was so young when he retired. And there were times where people were advising people not to sell him even after he retired. And the only bad trade that you could have made for Andrew Luck at that moment was the one you declined. That was
true.
It. Mark Card, Cortland Sutton, take a major leap or a major jump in rankings. Who do you prefer for Dynasty redraft between Marquez Callaway, Sutton, Gabe Davis, or Van Jefferson?
What's Dynasty redraft?
I completely missed that.
Let's say it's Dynasty.
For Dynasty or redraft, maybe. Let's say.
Okay, so for Dynasty, I would have Sutton first on that list.
I think by a significant margin over this
It's
group.
Close between him and Davis. I like Davis.
Maybe.
I'd much rather have Josh Allen as my quarterback than Russell Wilson. So,
yeah,
it is close, but yeah, I mean, Callaway and Jefferson are like way down.
Cat Zero says, I feel like DK was solid while Russ missed time this year. It's true. If you watch the show, you'll know that he was the wide receiver 4 during the time that Russ missed. So yes, he was very good.
Yeah, but
it's I still would sample, but it's the only sample we have. So what do you?
I'd still rather him have Russ than not.
Correct.
Another Tyler.
So wait, what's the best case scenario? What's the best case scenario quarterback for him? Of anybody available?
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you want the realistic best case scenario, it's that they sign Jameis Winston. That's probably your best case.
Maybe. Yeah,
well,
maybe
they don't have a first round pick this year. Or now they might. Now they do. They have the 9th overall pick now. So they do have that. I forgot about that earlier. That makes more sense. So they do have the 9th overall pick to maybe get a quarterback, but there's no guarantee.
Tyler wants to know, another Tyler, would you trade Najee and Devonta Smith for the 101, 103, and Tyreek Hill?
Well, it's easily the 101, 103 side. Easily. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you at on Kadarius Toney? Is he a buy for an early second?
Let's
see. Early second.
I just feel like that's not the buy low I've seen. I've heard about the 207 in one case, a 209 in another case, a 23 second for Toney in another case, but an early second this year seems a little bit much. Even if I maybe like him that much, I don't know.
Yeah, and so much of this is just going to depend on what. I mean, you're talking about someone like who, like maybe Sky Moore or something in that spot.
Yeah, I just feel like
I'd just rather have Toney.
I just feel like also this is not low. I've seen much lower.
Yeah. Eric Lyman, I should have milked my 8-hour startup clock, so I could have drafted Alberto in the 15th round.
I'll play the world's smallest violin for you. A sad song on the world's smallest violin.
Not that Benny Blanco says, my first year of Dynasty, I was so green and so impatient that I traded Amari Cooper for Buck Allen and a third. Oh, is this the moment that broke you, Benny?
Ouch.
Wow. Was this back? Was he with the Raiders at this point? I'm trying to remember. Buck Allen was very...
Yeah, this was a while ago, and this would have been bad. You missed out on Amari's 2018 revival.
Yeah.
And 2019, good year.
Joe drafted Kajana Carter at 101 in his rookie draft and watched his knee injury destroy his career later that
Dude,
day.
You've been playing Dynasty for like 26 years because Kajana Carter's from before I was born.
Yeah, me too. No, not I was playing Dynasty. When was he? What draft class was that?
94 and 95.
Okay, that is a couple of years before my time too, actually. Not much, but a couple. Eric Lyman, also Tua, 104, DK, or Russ and Judy, 12-team Superflex. PPR.
What? Tua side with 104 and DK. This trade makes no sense.
I think people are unbelievably down on DK right now. Go make your assignment right here.
But
go
forget DK. I'd probably rather have Tua in the 104 than Russ and Judy. So I don't understand this trade at all.
It was his third season, 2019, I believe. Says,
oh, not good.
Not great. That might have been the year he got traded to. Did he get traded that year? He might have been.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck is still rostered in the Superflex League.
Andrew Luck is very happy in retirement. He's never coming back.
Rad 5577 was offered Trevor Lawrence for Deontay Johnson and Tua, 1 in a 12-team Superflex. I know people are down on Trevor, and I know he isn't as good as Tua.
I'll take Lawrence.
That is a reference to last week's show where I'm not sure. Maybe Addison got a little hot takey with his Tua over Trevor Lawrence.
Well, the people know that Trevor Lawrence is going to have a good 2022 season. I think they know.
Ryan says at least Moore and Tony will score points this season.
As compared to Ridley? Yeah, that's a good point.
What do you think in draft capital for Singletary Gibson? I guess if you're trading away Singletary and Gibson, what do you want to get?
Oh, a top 3 pick at least, right? I mean,
yep. We are about 12 minutes from ending the show, roughly. What do you think about adding some questions in here? So we've got just a few. We can end early if we need to, but if you have questions, good time to go ahead and ask them. Trogdor, Allen, and Waddle, or Trey Lance and AJ Brown, Superflex.
Allen and Waddle, easily, actually.
Allen over Lance by a good bit, and then where does Waddle and AJ Brown land in your rankings?
They're closer than Allen and Lance.
You have AJ Brown over Waddle?
I do, but they're closer than Allen and Lance by a lot.
Bassmaster, 12-team Superflex, Russell Wilson and Antonio Gibson, or Lamar Jackson and Michael Carter.
I'll take Lamar. Give me the young stud and Lamar, quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lamar side.
Yeah, maybe a good day to move Russell Wilson too.
Might be.
God, what if he gets... Yeah, see, that's the thing. You got to sell somebody on the hope that he's going to just have like 48 targets or 48 pass attempts a game.
Maybe. I mean, who knows?
Buy Apple Pie, 111 in Henry, or CeeDee Lamb.
Lamb.
What's Henry's value right now?
Unfortunately, not as much as we think. It's hard to trade him away. This is the kind of deal you got to make, probably.
Yeah.
Package Henry with something else to move up.
If you a late first and Henry, and if that can get you Lamb, that's pretty good.
Oh, I'm all in on it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, offer that for Lamb or like even DK maybe if you got Henry.
Yeah.
Todd Radmaker, I lost luck in a Superflex, but felt my soul die when I lost Julio for the year to an injury.
I mean, there's one of those two players was a first-round startup pick when you lost them. The other one was at the end of his career. So I'd rather have. Luck was a much bigger deal.
Brandon Carmichael, AJ Brown, and Gibson for Dalvin Cook and Devontae Adams.
Brown and Gibson.
Yeah. The difference in value for these two sides, I get that the production is probably going to be on the Cook and Adams side, right?
Yeah, I'll take the youth, though. I'll take the youth.
But I want the youth.
Yeah.
Travis
this is the day to sell Devontae Adams, by the way.
It is.
This is your day. Yeah. He's never going to be worth more again than he's worth today.
Absolutely. Mark Carr, do you prefer Travis Etienne or Josh Jacobs?
They're back-to-back in ADP, but I'll go against ADP and take Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I want Josh Jacobs here too. Yeah, they're RB17 and RB18, and oh yeah, so close. They're literally 40 and 41 in the overall. Josh Jacobs, only a year older than Etienne.
I know. Jacobs is February 98 and Etienne's January 99.
Matt Tom, would you ever settle on what you think is an optimal championship winning roster, or always looking to make trades where value can be found?
Never settle.
Never, ever. And as soon as you start doing this, before you know it, your team's going to be too old and you're going to lose.
Absolutely.
Joe Abear, who's your all-time favorite NFL player? Mine's Lawrence Thomas.
You mean Lawrence Taylor?
Lawrence Taylor.
My all-time favorite player? I wish there was a giant who, like, during my lifetime was someone who really stood out to me. I mean,
Eli
Michael Strahan.
Manning.
I don't. I'm not an Eli Manning person. Michael Strahan is one of my favorite players.
Mm. Uh, Victor Cruz was fun.
Yeah, I did like Victor Cruz, but Michael Strahan is probably one of my favorite players.
Yeah, I think it's Drew Brees. I think it has to be Drew Brees for me as a Saints fan. But I'll tell you what, Steve Smith, Marshawn Lynch, those are really close seconds for me. I love those guys.
Calvin Johnson is one of my favorite players.
Yeah, he's awesome too. FF Lefty still waiting for that live Addison versus Tyler debate on Tua versus Lawrence.
Addison has a standing invite. The people need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Addison has a standing invite to come into the, literally, I'm wearing a lion, the lion's den. The debate is on. The debate is on for the inferior Tua to the superior Lawrence. The debate is on.
LT was an animal, just so dominant, deservingly won the league MVP as a defensive player.
Only defensive player ever.
Not bad. Jay Fran, 16 team, Superflex, Debo, or Justin Fields?
Yes, Justin Fields. And a 16 team Superflex, quarterbacks are worth like double what they are in a 12 team. So it's easily Justin Fields. It's actually not close.
I was gonna say that. I'm surprised to hear you say Fields, but
not in a 16 team Superflex. It's not even close.
Bonnie, JT for Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson. That's a good deal.
Wow. I think Devontae Adams is just too much to be thrown in with Justin Jefferson. So I'll take the Jefferson side. And I'll try to flip Adams, but I'll take Jefferson and Adams.
FF Lefty also likes Marshawn. Would you trade Kyler for Fields and what would probably be 101 or 102 in 2023?
Man. How
only if you have no chance to compete this year, I think.
Like if the question were would I have Fields in the 101 this year or Kyler, I would probably take Fields in the 101. But that would be knowing it's the 101, not having to take the risk. So
yeah, because as soon as you trade,
you can't know for sure. You can't know for sure as well that it's going to be the 101 or the 102. So
yeah, I
would say no. But like I said, Fields in the 101 is the minimum I would need to trade Kyler this year, the 2022 101.
Eric says, do you ever take gross old assets if they fall enough in startups like Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, etc.? That's not who I would be thinking of, I guess, in this. You're not a fan of having the old running backs on your team, so just wondering.
Okay, so with that kind of player, it's like a used car. The second you drive it off the lot, it loses an additional 20% of its value. So no early. I just won't take him. Later on, I'm fine taking someone like Odell Beckham if he falls far enough. Kenny Galladay even, Corey Davis, these players, Robert Woods. Like if they fall far enough, if they're the pick at that point, I'll take them. But early in this range, pretty much no. It's hard for me to imagine I would ever accept having Cook or Mixon on my team. Running back also is the one I'm the least likely to accept.
Yeah. I have taken Dalvin Cook in a startup, and I just never like it. I never like my team when I do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Ooh, before my time,
yeah. Before my time.
You know who else with the Bills? I used to love, obviously Marshawn Lynch, but there was, was Travis Henry the one there? I think it was Travis Henry.
Fred Taylor?
Well, I loved
Fred
that
Taylor. Was the Jaguars, though.
Not Fred Taylor, but Ed, help me out. Who's the running back that Tyler's thinking of right there? Oh, he was there with CJ Spiller for a while. Yeah. Mark Carr, love Calvin Johnson, killed me when retired. Always look for him in redraft. Yeah.
I miss him.
Calvin Johnson was awesome. Heard Tyler last week say to grab Alberto on top of others. Yes, I'm way behind. You'll catch up.
I always liked Alberto's talent. That's why I'm kind of in on him at tight end. I jumped him to tight end 13, but people are going to be even more in on him than me. So now I can't be the Alberto truther anymore.
12 team 201 and OBJ for Michael Pittman.
Yeah, I mean, OBJ is such a maybe, so I'll take Pittman
Take
pretty
Pittman.
easily. Yeah.
Joe Meyer, 104 plus Bateman, or 2023 second for Metcalf and a Tin Man, half PPR.
Well, I'd rather have Bateman over a 23 second, but I'll take Metcalf either way.
Here it is. Fred Jackson.
Fred Jackson. Yes.
That's who
yes.
it
yes.
is.
Yes.
Joe Meyer, also Deontay Johnson, plus 107 or 103 in Hopkins.
Deontay side, no matter what.
Yeah, I'll take that. Going down 4 picks in this draft right there and getting a better dynasty asset, I'll take that. How about Singletary? Yeah, we were just talking about how difficult it is to value him right now.
I'll take any first easily.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know if you can get that, but I'm still trying to cash out.
I just think they're going to add somebody.
We'll see. I think they will too.
Yeah, LaShawn McCoy was there for a minute. He was okay there. And Travis Henry, I love Travis Henry. He was one of those like undervalued assets in fantasy.
He was a little bit before my time.
You know, Tiki Barber was kind of the same time, and I always liked having Tiki Barber too. I took Dalvin Cook in the middle of the 6th round and felt like that was way too far for him. Yeah, I don't know where I took him in the draft that I was in, but I felt like he fell too far too. And then I hated it because then, you know what? After that, all of a sudden I was like, well, now I got to go all in. So all my picks had to be like, I got to compete now. And then I hate my team. I absolutely hate my team there.
I have Cook as a mid 5th round startup pick in Superflex, but he always goes before that. I've never had to take him.
And then you got Darren Waller. This is what I mean. Like you start having to double down on that. And I wish I could have redo.
Yeah.
Fred Jackson is a huge fan favorite. He was awesome, man. I really liked Fred Jackson a lot. Yeah, look at this. Making connections. Skip, if Jordan Love gets traded, how soon till the Green Bay Packers draft another QB of the future?
Well, to be fair, Aaron Rodgers disputed the terms of this contract that he signed,
right?
But he actually didn't sign. But he did confirm that he'll be back with the Packers next year. I don't know what the actual terms are. Either way, I think it's clear that they're never going to Jordan failure, Jordan disaster. I mean, I think Jordan Love is a bust. I have no interest. I don't know if they're going to trade him. Nobody wants him. I mean, I actually think
that's the thing.
Who would pay? I mean, how much is Jordan? I mean, I can look it up, but how much is Jordan Love owed? I mean, these next 2 years. I mean, it's going to be
the first deal, right?
Yeah, so I guess it's not that much. It's 3 million, 3 and 4 million. That's not bad. But who's going to trade for Jordan Love? I mean, who wants him? I mean, he's looked awful, and he wasn't even. They said they had a lot of things he needed to improve. Many things, many spots of improvement. So, but also if you're the Packers, if you can't get anything in return for him, and he's only worth costing you 3-4 million, that's the same as a veteran backup. Who are you going to sign as a backup that's better, that you can get cheap? Probably nobody. Like, you're going to sign what? Blaine Gabbert? Mike Glennon? That's not going to help. So,
and have we ever had a first round quarterback that did not get a chance to be the guy, like the starter?
Paxton Lynch was one who really didn't get a real shot.
Name the starter.
He got more of a shot than Love, but he lost the job to Trevor Siemian in the competition when they competed.
Pretty quickly. But like he was named the starter at one point. Like, have we ever had a first round quarterback like not named the starter ever for any team?
I mean, not really, but
just I mean, like the worst draft pick of all time.
It's not the worst draft pick of all time. That's Jamarcus Russell. No, Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell, they gave him the playbook, and then they tricked him the next time. They gave him blank tapes. And they asked him later what he thought of those tapes. And he was like, oh, yeah, no, I reviewed the tapes. And the plays I liked all of them. That's what he said. So, no, that's the worst one. Jamarcus Russell is the worst pick ever. But, this is bad. But seriously, at this point, I think that they just keep Jordan Love. What, you're going to trade him for a 5th round pick? What does that accomplish? And then he gets a chance. If you're the Packers, what do you have to gain? Nothing. So I think they just keep him, decline his 5th-year option, and then just let him walk after his, or keep him as a backup.
Who retires first, Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers. I think that Jordan Love is going to continue being like a backup kind of player for a long time.
AJ appreciates this show. We appreciate you, AJ. Just a few more questions here. Jonah was offered 101, Elijah Moore, and what will be an early 23 first for Javonte and non-super flex. What do you think?
I'll take the package side. This is way too much for any. I don't think any player is really worth that. Maybe Jonathan Taylor. Maybe.
Yeah, because you're talking about at the 101 in a 1 QB league.
That's Breece Hall.
Right.
Plus Elijah Moore. Yeah, actually, no player is worth this. So package side, no matter the player.
How about the 101 this year or DK?
In a super flex, I'll take the 101. So I have for insurance in case Malik Willis gets a really good landing spot, then I'd rather have him over DK. But in a 1 QB, I'll probably stick with DK for now. It's not as risky.
112 for Sutton.
We answered that already. I'll take the 112.
Yeah. Bonnie loved Jamal Charles. Me too.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a player that I really liked.
He was fun to watch. For that couple of years, Chris Johnson, CJ2K was a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely. Yeah. Calvin Johnson, though, of like my era is probably the one I'm the most into.
Let's see. Yeah. Jamal Charles, electric. Yeah. Absolutely. Ryan Leaf was pretty bad. Close second.
Ryan Leaf was also really bad. Those are the two, though. Those are the two. Second and first overall picks literally set their franchises back 4 years each selection.
I still think I could make an argument, given the context of the teams and all that Jordan Love, that pick is worse.
It's so much later, though. And Ryan Leaf they traded up.
Because it's later, you got a better team that could have added a player that instead of getting to conference championships helps them get to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but these players set their franchises back 3 years single-handedly.
Well, the franchise
that's about as bad as it could.
Just this.
Not really. I mean, the Chargers had a pretty good team around Leaf at the time.
Zane was in a 32-team single copy IDP, salary cap, contract league, amazing league, and tendered an RFA offer for Aaron Hernandez for a future first and second. A few days later, he was arrested.
Disaster there.
For murder. I remember when that news dropped, I was like, yeah. Because Aaron Hernandez was a great player. I loved watching him play. This was sad. What are good landing spots for Malik Willis?
At this point, I don't think he makes it past Seattle at 9.
I think somewhere with an offensive coordinator who knows what they're doing with a guy like Malik Willis. And
Seattle is a bad landing spot.
Totally.
Carolina is probably the best realistic one.
Oh, wait, who's the offensive coordinator there? Your Giants guy?
Oh, the offensive coordinator is terrible, but I'd like to play with Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore if I'm a rookie quarterback.
His name escapes me now.
Ben McAdoo.
Yeah. Is this Josh? Probably Josh Rosen, right?
Josh Rosen.
That was bad. Josh Rosen got a chance to start. Jordan Love's not going to get a chance to start for any team as a first-round pick. That's amazing. Yeah, thanks to Jamarcus Russell. There's a contract cap for rookies. He certainly has something to do with it.
He had a bit to do with that.
Titans drafted what's his name in the first years ago. He still hasn't played it down. Oh yeah, I remember that. That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's his name tells you maybe all you need to know.
Yeah. There are some really bad ones, but
really the truth there. Never said what the truth was. I can't believe that this news didn't come out. That they kept this locked in. Nobody had anything to say about it.
I don't know.
Nothing.
I don't know how they pulled that off.
Mark Carr, imagine if the Colts took Ryan Leaf instead of Peyton Manning. How much would that have set back the Colts?
I mean,
Yeah.
infinitely.
Right. The Colts were already bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan Leaf is really something, though.
Tyler, great show.
Thank
Hope
you.
you feel better. Lots of people in here love Tyler. Reach out to Tyler on Twitter. Tell him how much you appreciate him. Tyler, any last words before we close?
No, I just appreciate everyone in the chat. I appreciate, everyone who asked questions, everyone who tuned in. If you're on YouTube, and I guess you are, hit the like and subscribe button at the bottom of the video and leave a comment. Leaving comments, even if it's just I like the show, really helps the YouTube algorithm get us viewed more.
Yeah, check that out. And hey, by the way, really truth if you're in here, I know you'll appreciate the guest that I've got on. I know somebody that you like. We're going to talk about trades this week on the Dynasty Refinery. Going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you tune into that. Releases on Saturday. Make sure right down there that if the subscribe button is red, click it. That means you're not subscribed. You need to subscribe to this channel. It's the least you can do. It takes nothing. Hit the like button. Tyler's going to be happy. I promise. I'm going to go back. The algorithm is going to help me out. And Addison is going to get his wings when you do that. Make sure you do that. And with that, we'll see you on the next show. Thanks for tuning in.